A surprising email hit my inbox yesterday. Would you like to review the new Nickelodeon Kart Racers title? And it releases tomorrow. Being a glutton for punishment, I said, why not, and spent the rest of my day playing the game. The game features dozens of characters and tracks that star a heck of a lot of Nickelodeon properties. The game is a hefty-looking package at first. Why, they've even chucked in voice acting for the first time, and boy do I wish they had not. Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3 Slime Speedway attempts to morph the Sonic and All-Stars racing games into Mario Kart and ends up being a bit of a pale imitation of both, and it costs $50. But it's not all bad. So let's get into it in the XboxEra review. The biggest thing here are the IP present as characters, tracks, and crew members. So let's list it all out first. For characters, we've got SpongeBob, Patrick Star, Sandy, Squidina, Camper SpongeBob, and Camper Patrick from SpongeBob SquarePants, Lucy, Daughter of the Devil, Korra, Toph, Zuko, and Aang from Avatar, Reptar, Purple Reptar, Susie, and Chucky from Rugrats, Invader Zim and Gur from Invader Zim, both Ren and Stimpy, Cat Dog, Danny Phantom, Garfield, and Odie, Leonardo, Raphael, and an Eastman and Laird Raphael from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Lincoln and Clyde from The Loud House, Rocco from Rocco's Modern Life, Hey Arnold himself, Jimmy Neutron, the Boy Genius, and JoJo Siwa, the only real-world person in this game. As I only had about a day, I wasn't able to unlock everything, and there are supposedly more, as the marketing touted over 40 iconic Nickelodeon characters, which is more than I just listed. For crew members, there are over 90, and they cover 3 categories. And don't worry, I'm not listing them all out. You have your chief, who is tied to your slime meter. To fill up your slime meter and go faster, you need to acquire slime coins during a race. Once the meter is full, you can use Y to unleash a chief-specific ability, and there appear to be 10 different Nickelodeon characters as chiefs in total. Next up is your crew engineer. They offer a passive bonus, such as gaining a shield whenever you acquire an item, and there is a very large number of them to unlock. And finally, you have your crew mechanic, who offers up yet another passive from the same pool as the engineers. You'll choose from either a cart or a bike and then customize your tires, tailpipe, and paint job to match your preferred look and playstyle. You'll use these characters and vehicles across 36 tracks, featuring a decent number of new ones alongside a bunch of returning tracks from the previous entries. The main progression system is earning slime tokens after each race and spending them on whichever racer you want to unlock. The grind is real, and you're going to have to play a lot of this game to unlock everything in it. The modes are a mix of a few online ones that I couldn't test as no one was playing yet, and numerous kinda mediocre offline ones. For the online modes, you have local and online options. For local, you can play with 2 to 4 players in split screen, and when trying this out with 4 controllers, the performance was surprisingly awful on my Series X. Constant judder and frame rate drops made it difficult to both see what was going on and control my vehicle. You also have various head-to-head and more arcade combat-focused ones available that I'll get into in a little bit. For online, there is either match-made or private races on offer, but as I said before, the game is not out yet, so I couldn't get into any. The offline modes include Slime Scramble, which is the main offline mode and features 4 races per circuit with a point system determining the overall winner. There are 9 circuits on offer and 3 speed/difficulties to choose from. The main progression path of the game is racing every circuit 3 times, once for each difficulty, which would take a decent amount of increasingly boring time. Time trial is next, where you simply race the clock to try and top the leaderboards. Then you have challenges, which are basic things such as pick up 5 items, then win this predetermined race. There's a decent amount of them, but it's not very exciting stuff. Finally, you have Arena, which is a mix of combat-focused modes, including Demolition, Control the Golden Spatula, Slime Trails, and Jelly Spotters. The last one is a Splatoon-style Paint the Arena mode, which doesn't work that great in practice, but was still kinda fun. Overall, it's a decent smattering of modes, but none of them feel super complete. Just everything about the presentation of the game comes off as being well-intentioned, but lacking in scope and budget afforded to the better titles in the genre. Finding out that this game cost $50 at launch was shocking. as everywhere else it just feels like a budget title. The saving grace would have been a solid control scheme, but sadly there too, the game feels off and unfinished. It's a familiar setup with either the right bumper or right trigger as your gas, left bumper or left trigger as your hop into a power slide, as well as being the trigger for performing stunts right as you hit a jump. A is used to activate any power-ups you drive over during the course of a race, and the number of those felt kinda small. I got the same few power-ups over and over again during my time with the game, and outside of a weird bowling pin one that covered the entire track, they were kinda boring to use. And one constant source of frustration was that hop into a power slide, as it felt both loose and too slow to activate the slide itself. In the game, the physics are all over the place as you bounce wildly when hitting walls or magically make jumps you shouldn't otherwise by instantly teleporting back onto the track. Vehicles can also turn into boats whenever you go over a body of water, and unlike a Sonic or Mario title, these transformations didn't really make the game's handling feel that different. It kinda just ended up feeling more like a visual gimmick to me than something that would actually change up a race. The soundtrack of the game is inoffensive at best. If any music from any Nickelodeon IP was used, I didn't recognize it. And the pre-race silence was kinda odd. Once a race gets going though, or you're in the menus, there is a constant and kinda short, jaunty tune that was always immediately forgettable. One of the big new features is voice acting for the first time in the series, but the sound-alikes often didn't sound like their real-world counterparts, and the constant repetition of their few voice lines that were available became frustrating after a few minutes with the game. I understand that a smaller budgeted title isn't going to be able to even use voice clips from the shows without having to pay the bigger name actors, but I ended up preferring silence and turn the sound off because of how poorly it was handled here. Graphically, the game looks clean most of the time, with decent texture work and a nicely varied track selection. What is shocking for a game that looks like it could run easily on an Xbox One or PS4 is that it struggled mightily to keep a steady frame rate for me on Series X, even in single-player offline mode. I'm not sure what the resolution is, but the 60 frames per second target was rarely hit mid-race when the effects were flying, and it made things feel far worse to try and control. This title doesn't look, so good that it should ever struggle to maintain decent performance, so I hope it's patched up quickly at or shortly after post-launch. I didn't run into any major bugs while playing, but I did fall through the track a few times, only to be instantly teleported back to it after a few seconds. In conclusion, I simply cannot recommend Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3 at its launch price of $50. The controls are mediocre, performance is surprisingly inconsistent, the voice work becomes grating, and it's a budget package on a nearly AAA price. Thank you so much for watching, and if you can like, comment, and subscribe, it's the best thing to help our channel grow. And we'll see you next time on XboxEra.